Hey guys, what's up? Admin Zigzagoon here, and joining me as usual, my friend Prudy Pratt.
Bonjour.
So today I'm going to be showing you guys a best of 3 match that I had against Yosua Setiawan, and this is a best of 3 that we had from our faction wars in the Pokemon Station group. Yosua is a 12-year-old, and I'm pretty sure that he's Indonesian. I'm not really sure about that, but yeah, it's a pretty good battle, so we're going to go ahead and hop right into it. Okay, so Yosua is going to lead his Kangzern. And against him I lead Double Genie. So, Prudy, what do you think about this?
Well, it's good for you in that you get to intimidate the Kangaskhan and you can potentially taunt or paralyze the Xerneas with Thunderous. Good for him in that he has the fake out pressure and he can get Geomancy up almost consequence free.
Right. Yeah, the Geomancy, that's a big problem. So he goes ahead and Mega Evolves his Kangaskhan here. Not wanting to take a fake out, I go ahead and protect the Thunders.
Yes. At this point in the format, Protect Thunderous wasn't especially popular, but it was really good, because people usually faked out into it.
Now this Landers is Choice Band, so this Earthquake does a lot of damage, over 50% to each of them.
Yeah.
So, Xerneas does get the Geomancy up, but there wasn't really much I could do about it.
Yeah. And so this next turn you'd think Yosua's potentially, it's almost too obvious of a play would be to protect the Xerneas and double edge the Thunderous, but he doesn't protect. But you Thunder Wave to cover that anyways.
Right. So I do get the paralysis onto the Xerneas, which is really good. He goes ahead and Sucker Punches into my Lander slot.
Yeah. Covering the potential Assault Vest.
Right. So here's the Dazzling Gleam doing tons of damage. I am Sash Thunders, so I'm going to hang on here for another turn.
Yeah, which is very fortunate.
Yeah. Yeah, Thunders is pretty important to keep around, especially with this team. So we bring in Mence here. With that Paralyzed Xerneas, my Mence is actually faster than him, so...
And the second Intimidate on the Kangaskhan means it won't be able to do almost anything to Salamence.
Right. So both of his Pokemon are low HP. I do have Max Speed Thunders here, so... I was a little afraid of Sucker Punch here, but luckily he didn't go for it, so I got the Thunderbolt off just to KO the Kangaskhan. And at this point, all I have to do is Double Edge to KO the Xerneas as well.
Yeah, clean up the field. Though, it's not great in that he gets a free double switch.
Right. But overall, not bad positioning, I don't think. So I'm up 3-2.
Yes.
So Groudon comes in, and Greninja.
So the main problem here is that your Thundurus' Sash is it's already been taken to Sash. Its Sash was broken.
Right.
And so with Greninja outspeeding Salamence, most likely, he could potentially KO it or Thundurus with Greninja.
Yeah. And I was a little scared of this Greninja because I wasn't really sure what he was carrying at all. They're very unpredictable. But he goes in and protects.
Yeah,
which I think is very smart.
It covers your Protect on Salamence and Thunder Wave.
Which I do just that too, so he made a good play there.
Yes.
Try for the Thunder Wave on Greninja, but it protects of course, and he reveals the Rock Slide on Groudon.
Yeah. Showing you that he's most likely full physical.
Right. At this point in the format, I believe that full physical Groudon was the most common.
Yeah.
So, now I get free switch into my Kyogre, winning me the Weather War.
Yeah. Giving your Kyogre the ability to potentially one-hit KO both of his Pokemon this turn.
Right. So here we get the Rain Up. So as Greninja reveals the Dark Pulse, at this point, I suppose he has to try to go for a flinch onto my Kyogre.
Yeah. And the Life Orb, of course.
The Life Orb is revealed as well, so...
You know it's not Sash.
Right. Hyper Voice comes out, doing lots of damage. It was a crit on his Groudon, so that's unfortunate.
So that means it's most likely a bulkier Groudon.
Yeah. Gets a big Precious Blades off, doing a lot of damage to Kyogre, but it hangs on with 22 HP.
A pretty weak water spot here, but it's enough.
Yeah. Already weakened, that Groudon's going to go down to it. Yes. This was a max special attack modest Kyogre, so...
That was more common back in that point of the format.
Right. And he's going to go ahead and forfeit there, knowing that he can't win. So, what are your thoughts going into Game 2?
Well, his adjustments that he needs to make are preserving his Xerneas more carefully.
Right.
You know? And I believe we see in the team preview here, he brings the Crobat as an adjustment to cover for the Thunderous better.
Which is really smart in my opinion. He played a little recklessly with Xerneas in that last game, which could have paid off, but...
Yeah, very well could have.
Yeah, but I went ahead and tried to cover anyway and go for the Thunder Wave, so it paid off for me in the end.
I believe another adjustment he could make is preserving the Groudon a little more carefully.
Yeah, the Groudon went down pretty quick. It was a pretty quick game, though.
Yeah.
So he is going to lead the Crobat and Xerneas.
And the advantage this gives him is now he can potentially Quick Guard with Crobat and get an almost free Geomancy. You can't paralyze or taunt him.
Right. So here I can get some damage off, but I mean, I can't stop Geomancy.
Yeah.
So I try to go for the taunt on Crobat, but the Quick Guard stops that. Now, noticing that he's modest because my Intimidate went before his Fairy Aura, I knew I could knock off his power
and delay the Geomancy. Yeah.
Yes.
So you can get
so he can't do anything with that slot other than wait for Geomancy to complete.
Yeah. And he has to do Quick Guard to cover the paralysis.
So I go ahead and Thunderbolt, knowing I need to just get as much damage as possible into that Xerneas. And that was a crit, unfortunately.
For him, yeah.
Yes. So I go ahead and knock off the Citrus Berry off of the Crobat, which does over 50%, so that's really good. Geomancy completes here.
That was an interesting item choice on the with Citrus Berry on Crobat as well.
Yeah, I don't think Smeargle was quite as prominent at this time. People weren't countering it quite as hard.
Yeah.
So you can go and Protect and Tailwind.
Yeah, to cover for his late game a little bit better.
Yeah.
At the immediate...
So he could have Quick Guarded to stop Thunder Wave, but I actually double attacked into Xerneas' turn, so that was a really good play on his end.
And now all he has to do is Quick Guard and go for a Dazzling Gleam.
Yes. And he does just that.
And he saw last game that it would most likely KO the Landorus.
Yeah. He may have been able to judge off of the damage that I was choice banned. I'm not sure, but he knew that it was likely to knock it out. So I did get a Thunderbolt off on Xerneas, but with that doubled special defense, I'm not sure if it was a roll or not, but
yeah.
I'm going to get in my Kyogre here in place of Landorus.
Now, this isn't a terrible position, but the Xerneas can, you know, just Dazzling Gleam, and that paired with the Super Fang into Kyogre could potentially be a double KO.
Right. So, knowing that I need to preserve my Thunderous, I go ahead and protect it. And as you said with the Super Fang play, I go ahead and protect my Kyogre as well.
To scout, yeah.
But interestingly enough, he didn't go for the Dazzling Gleam with his Xerneas, but I suppose that's because he wasn't going to Quick Guard this turn. He just wanted to get that Super Fang off.
Yeah, he didn't want to risk, you know, potential Swagger or Thunder Wave and full paralysis.
So switching out Crobat here for Groudon, getting the weather in his control.
Meaning his Groudon can't be KO'd this turn. He knows that.
Right.
And his Zern is most likely going to KO the Thunderous, or at least has the potential to.
Right. So again, I realize I need to preserve my Thunderous, so I go for the double Protect, and I get really lucky and get it.
And then you cover the Groudon switch
Yes.
with the Ice Beam.
Yeah, I have an Ice Beam coming his way on the Xerneas to knock it out. So I predicted correctly there, just knowing that he had the potential to switch in the Groudon.
Yeah. And that makes your Thunderous a lot more useful for the rest of the game.
Right.
Well, potentially.
So that's a huge problem out of the way. Crobat comes in under 50% HP, so
You switch out the Kyogre to regain control of the weather, and shuffle in this Intimidate on the Groudon, which you learned was physical.
and just to cover potential Precious Blades as well.
Yeah.
Overall, I think it was a pretty good play. The Super Fang will knock out the Thunders here.
Yeah.
That's fine at this point. I likely went for a Thunderbolt on that slot.
Yeah.
So he goes for the Precious Blades, and nothing happens there. Kyogre comes back in, getting the weather back up.
And so now he's forced with either hoping he outspeeds and KOs the Kyogre with Precipice Blades or switching out. He chooses the latter.
Right. And as we saw, he's most likely a bulky Groudon, so
Yeah.
that was the only play he had there, I believe. Now the problem here is, though, he risks a lot of damage on that Kangaskhan.
Yeah. And that's a full HP Mega Kangaskhan. It's a tough thing to switch in because it could just be KO'd.
Right. So he goes for the Super Fang on Salamence here. I would go ahead and set up a Tailwind, knowing that that really helps against my endgame.
Yeah. And the Water Spout, despite Kyogre's low HP, does a lot of damage.
Yes. So that Crobat's going down, and that Kang took about 2/3. So Groudon comes back in here. It is still at full HP, so it's actually a pretty big threat. Thing is, though, he can't Precious Blades and Rock Slide at the same time.
Yeah. So he has to choose which one to target down and prioritize.
And I'm still in Tailwind, so...
Yeah, for 2 more turns, I believe. Or 3 more turns.
Yes. Yes, this is the first turn Tailwind. So I actually go ahead and double protect, just knowing that taking any free damage isn't really affordable right now.
And plus, if you did go for a protect, say on Mence and not on Kyogre, he could double into Kyogre and really punish you for it.
Yeah. And then I think I just lose at that point.
Yeah. So he does what he has to and Sucker Punches the Salamence.
Right.
Not
But-
gonna be nearly enough.
No. So I go ahead and get the Hyper Voice off, finishing off Kangaskhan and doing a good chunk to Groudon.
Yes.
A little more than a third, I'd say.
Yeah.
And an Ice Beam as well.
Yeah. And from a fully invested Kyogre, Ice Beam is almost always a 3-hit KO.
Yes. So he gets the Precious Blades off, which will knock out my Kyogre.
Yeah.
Now, Salamence only has 25 HP left, but it's going to be faster either way. Another Hyper Voice finishes it off, and that seals up the game.
Yep.
So, a little tight. Got a little lucky in some spots. Yeah, the double protect was huge.
Yeah, the double protect, it mattered a lot.
Well, good game to Yosua, and yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
Later!